Hungry Snacks Meals in the building.
I wasn't even thinking about me being on the show. I wanted to produce something for them.
Cool celebrity. Like if I went to the mall and stuff, people like, oh,
The thing was, I didn't even know that anybody ever thought I was ugly.
We look like twins almost.
Okay.
She really wouldn't be able
Covering any more subjects related. So that's why you got the raw reaction. This is pathetic. It's pathetic. Hey guys, welcome back to the Sweet Pea Diaries. It's your girl Sweet Pea, and I'm back with another interview from Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. We have Moniece Slaughter in the building. Welcome, Moniece, to the show. Nice to have you. Nice to see you.
I'm a little crusty child.
You're not crusty. You look beautiful. I love your hair.
Thank you. It's problematic, honey, but I'm working through it.
Is it? What are those called? Passion twists?
These are like some kind of boho locks.
Okay.
And then she like gave me like little curls in there and some little gems. So I'm just trying to keep it detangled. I'm a tomboy, so I don't really do well with like wrapping my hair. So I've been trying to try my little baby hairs done. Come on.
Yeah, I see you. I see you. Come through, baby hair.
Yeah, come undone, honey.
I love you with the short, when you have short cuts. I think you look
love
pretty.
my short hair.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Well, you guys know we've been trying to get Moniece, honey. Moniece and I think this is the most epic interview I have ever done.
Girl, from the first one, we had the glitches, and then we just couldn't get the time right.
Then I got sick. Then the baby's sick. She's still.
I was sick. I was on my doo-doo deathbed, honey. It just,
I thought I had the llama virus.
Child, it was a lot.
Oh, it was a lot, but we made it. So, Moniece, the audience had a lot of questions, and I put together a list. So how did you get started in the industry? We know that you had a music career. How did you get started? How old were you?
I was 15, and my dad is in the industry, and he sings with a gospel group called Take Six. And at the time, my cousins were living with us, and he was producing my cousin's album. And he came to me and was like, hey, I need you to help with some backgrounds. Do you think you could hold this note? And I was like, I could try. And turns out I was able to hold the note. And then when I got into the studio, he thought it would be a lot more difficult for me to do. Because he gave me the note at home. But then, obviously you go in the studio and you've got the headphones on and there's like, the lead going on and then there's the track. So he thought it would be a little harder. And it was actually super easy. So he was just like, nobody on your biological dad's side can sing. No one on your mom's side sings. So the fact that you can sing is a gift. And if you want to do something with this, I'll nurture that. So that was how I got into music.
Okay. And so you said Take Six. I've heard of that group.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. So we do know, though, I think that we have found out that you, the Next Top Model, how are you affiliated with that?
So my dad and his production partner had written the jingle and produced the music for the jingle. And there were like 3 different versions. So there's the infamous "na na 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 na," which didn't really have any words. And then there was one that had words, which she also uses. And then there was another one that had the backgrounds and the words, which she also used. And I was like 18. I had just graduated high school. And my dad called me and was like, hey, we have this gig for you, come to the studio. So I did. And that was the jingle that she ended up picking. And the show is now syndicated in over 5 different countries. So every quarter, I still get a very handsome royalty check because multiple versions of the jingle are being used. It's being aired in multiple countries, and including the US. And then years later, when she did, I believe it was her first like co-ed cycle, She redid it and it stayed in the family. My dad's production partner and his son, who's my godbrother, they redid it. So it's stayed in the family all this time. So
that's your first lesson on a little residual, a little cute little
longevity. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So how did you go from the jingle? What happened after that? How did you get into
After that, I used to go out like a lot. And this was obviously before being pregnant and having my son. And so I'd grown up in the industry, and so I knew a lot of people. And so I would just network a lot. And I ended up working with a producer whose name I prefer not to even mention because he's dealing with like all kind of rape cases and all kind of weird shit. But I was working with him, and at the time he was working with Marcus Houston, Akon, like he was booming. He was everywhere, Young Money. And so I was co-writing with him for Marcus Houston's second solo album, Mr. Houston, which I think ended up being titled Mr. H or something like that. And I was in another room in the studio writing for that album, and Akon was in the other studio, and I came down the hall and I was just singing to myself on my way, I think to like the bathroom or to go get food, or I was leaving. We're going somewhere, doing something. And Khan heard me and he was like, who is that? And I was like, me. And so from there, he signed me, and I got to meet and work with a lot of great people.
And when you say Khan, you mean Akon? You talk about Akon.
Mm-hmm. And then I got pregnant. And so, back then, and I say back then like it was so long ago, but back then, this is 2008, 2009, you couldn't be pregnant and be on the road. That wasn't acceptable because they feel like, we've put so much money into this, and, it wasn't a thing where you see female artists now get pregnant and not only do they tour, but they, will shoot multiple videos before they start showing, and, they're able to rehearse and dance and do all this stuff. That wasn't, labels didn't want to take that risk in
right
era. So when I had my son, they picked me back up again. But at that point, I was going through the custody battle. So even though the business wasn't what I had hoped it would end up being for me and my career, I'll never badmouth Akon because it was that deal that afforded me the ability to pay for lawyer fees, get a car, get an apartment, and regain custody of my son. So I will forever respect him and, the label and the management that he had for us at the time. And from there, I just fell off the grid.
Right.
So I was the first one amongst my peers to have a baby. So I was I was living at home. I had a little secretarial job. I was walking to and from work. Literally, I would get up in the morning, get myself ready. Then I would get my son up, pack his lunch, get him dressed, give him breakfast. I would walk to work. My dad would take him to daycare and pick him up. And then I would walk back home and then repeat.
Well, so if you had your son, and so was Drew, he was a part of what group? Was his little career booming at that time?
No, so I had known the boys. I had known B2K since we were like 16-ish.
Okay.
Because one of a producer that I was working with was also working with Janae Aiko at the time. And then I got into a group, and one of my group members was dating Omarion's brother. And then I got into another group, and that group member started dating Omarion's brother. So I was on and off around the boys for many years. And then I ran into Cam's dad again at a nightclub. And from there, we just we reconnected. I didn't really, I didn't really spend a lot of time around him during those group days of mine. But
Okay.
a lot of time around Raz and, you know, so, and Omari and Orion. And so, yeah. So I didn't know Cam's dad like that.
Okay. Because I'm like, girl, if you walking to work and all this stuff, if he had this career, you shouldn't have been walking to work.
No, B2K was a thing of the past when we got together.
Okay.
And we actually weren't together at that point anyway. We weren't even together when I found out I was pregnant with my son. We had just broken up 4 or 5 days before that. He actually broke up with me. And then I found out I was pregnant. And then he was like, oh, basically he told my parents he thought I was saying it just to get him back. And I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm off to Atlanta to finish the album then. And I left. My mom wanted to take me to the OBGYN. And I was like, no, I didn't have a baby with you. So I'm going to get on the plane. And if he's not here before my flight, then I'm going. And I went. And I started bleeding while I was in Atlanta. And so they thought the pregnancy was ectopic. So my mom got on a flight, came down. They released me from the hospital. We stayed with my aunt, and then they had me come back, and then they said, you can't fly yet. So that was like on a Friday. They released me like later on that day. My aunt Tammy is an RN. So she came and saw me at my aunt Devonna's house, and then they called my mom. My mom came down, and then Monday we all went to the OBGYN.
Okay.
And we didn't see anything inside the gestational sac. So I had a gestational sac, but there was no yolk sac, there was no embryo, and there were 3 masses in my left ovary. So that's why they were thinking it was ectopic. So they were like, well, you know, HCG levels double every day. Don't go home, because if it is ectopic, the pressure and all that, we don't even want that. So come back on Friday. So we went back on Friday, and then there he was, a little embryo. Have the yolk sac yet, but we had a heartbeat, we had an embryo, and obviously the heartbeat isn't audible at that point. So we're looking on the screen, and it just looked like a so what is that flickering? And they were like, that's the heartbeat. So my first ultrasound picture says flicker. I was calling him flicker. So we didn't end up getting back together until actually the day of my baby shower. I was 8 months pregnant. I was back home with my mom and dad, and my mom, and between my mom, my dad, and my grandma, they were taking me to all my ultrasound appointments. They were providing all my prenatals. They were fully supporting me.
Wow.
So then, yeah. And I left him when Cameron was like 3 weeks old.
Oh, wow. So how did, the dreaded question. So how did you make the transition from, if you ever made the transition from artist to love and hip hop? Take us through that. How did that happen?
So unbeknownst to me, when they had come to Hollywood, I had other friends that had already been filming for the show. So I knew the show had come to Hollywood.
Okay.
Never had any idea that they would be coming looking for me at some point. But it was like Eric Bellinger and his then girlfriend had been filming, or at least taken a meeting, from what I'd understood. And I knew several other people that had been talking about it. But that was it. And so again, you have to remember, I'm 2 years off of the Hollywood circuit.
Right.
And so no one had my number. But apparently, unbeknownst to me, my name kept coming up because I knew the entire cast. And not like fly by night, like knew them from like 15, 16, 17, right after high school until currently at that.
Right.
And so I was walking to the grocery store, and I got a call. And I'm like, she's describing it to me, and I'm like, is this about love and hip hop? And she's like, yeah, how'd you know? And I'm like, I know several people that have been filming or have, taken meetings. How did I even come up? And she said, well, we met with Fizz, and he gave us your number. But when we Googled you, you happened to be this Callie, Akon's artist that we had been looking for, but no one had your number. So you just happened to be his ex and the mother of his child. And we were already looking for you. So,
Okay. Oh, so you were known by Callie
mhm.
underneath the
well,
label.
yeah, underneath the label, but to all the the cast, they knew me as Moniece.
Moniece, right.
I'd known them long
Mhm.
before that phase of my life. So
Okay.
she's like, we'd like to set up a meeting. And I'm like, all right, well, let me call Drew. Because he never told me that he took this meeting, gave my number, nothing. So I call him and I'm like, did you give my number to the people at Love and Hip Hop? And he's like, yeah, I thought it would be a good platform, get your music going. I'm like, you don't even believe in my music. You told me that I couldn't sing. You said you don't believe in me. So I'm confused as to why you would disguise it as you are wanting to help me. And I was like, I don't think I want to do it, but I'll take the meeting. So I took the meeting and I told them, like, something doesn't sit right in my spirit. And they were like, why? And I said, well, Drew is very narcissistic in the way that he deals with me. So he gaslights, he stonewalls, he will act the ass behind closed doors, but then present himself to my family as if it's me that's the problem. And they have fallen for it. And the telltale that I said something tells me he's going to get me on camera and completely railroad me. No, he told us that you guys have joint custody, blah, 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 yada, 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 yada. He told us the custody battle's over. And I said, well, it's just interesting because when he has my son, he doesn't answer the phone. He tells his family to ignore my calls. He doesn't send me pictures of the baby, like nothing.
Right.
Now all of a sudden he's sending me pictures of them going to Raging Waters or Hurricane Harbor or Cam getting ready for bed, or he's making sure, that he calls me every day so I can talk to the baby when he has them. And I'm like, this is weird. So basically you're buttering me up. You know what I'm saying? And also look good.
Right.
To producers. And so they were like, no. So they reassured me. And then they said, we want to shoot this test scene. And we shoot the test scene. And that's the scene where I have on the big black Dolce & Gabbana scene.
I love that look.
Thank you. And I actually do wear glasses there right here.
I love when you wear glasses. You look so pretty.
So we're in that scene and he's like, how come you've been missing your weekends? And I'm like, what the hell?
There's the setup.
I don't miss my weekends if, first of all, I was living with my parents. And my parents would never, it's not that they would never, but it was weird. Like, they wouldn't, unless they said Cam could come over, he couldn't come over even though I was living there. It was so odd. So it's like, that my parents don't always allow me to. Like, my parents would text me and be like, so I would have to ask my parents' permission, like, Drew wants to bring Cam. Oh, well, we're not home. What does that have anything to do with anything? Like, I'm his mom and I'm here. So that wasn't up to me. You know what I mean? And he knew that.
Wow.
He knew that. So for you to now get me on camera, and I lost my mind.
Yeah.
I reacted because I was really confused. And little did I know that scene was a scene that got us in the door. And I was like, I don't want to do it. And they were like, I said, I told you I was right. My intuition never lies. I knew he was going to do this. I don't want to participate. And so we hadn't signed any deals or anything. We just signed a talent holding agreement. And they ended up calling me like literally the next morning. And they were like, so we want you guys to participate as full-time cast. And I was like, I don't want to do it. And they were like, well, if you don't do it, we can't cast him. Because
there's no show without you and him.
Well, no, yeah, there's just no.
They need you
storyline because they said he has a girlfriend, and I was like, he has a girlfriend. And they were like, yeah, you didn't know he's had a girlfriend for the past almost 2 years. And I said, well, I knew that.
And that was the Amanda girl, right?
Yeah. So I knew that okay, so that's weird. Like my son's 4th birthday party or 3rd, 4th, whatever, she had come, but no one ever told me her real name. And I only said hi to her. He introduced us. I said hi, and I never spoke to her again for the rest of the party. But Cam came home and volunteered. My dad has a girlfriend, and her name is Manu. So when they told me he had a girlfriend, I was never thinking it's the same girl. And they were referencing her as Amanda. I didn't know who Amanda was. And they couldn't believe that I didn't know he'd had a girlfriend for 2 years. And I was like, I don't know why you guys can't believe that. I don't talk to him.
Right.
I only talk to him about my son. And they were, now I know why they were so hard pressed to believe that I would have no idea, because he presented me to be this meddling, messy baby mama. So they're like, there's no way you couldn't know. I'm
He
like,
just wanted to get on that show. That's what
Yeah.
it seems like to me.
How is there no way that I wouldn't know? We literally don't speak. It took me, then he kept saying that I was bipolar. He kept saying that, you know, that we didn't have joint cut. Like, it was weird. So I had to bring in the reports from all the different therapists. I brought in the court papers, and I said, you're going to disallow him from continuing to spread this lie. Here's my official diagnosis on paper. Here's a custodial agreement on paper. So we're not going to say I don't have custody. That's defamatory. We're not going to say I have bipolar disorder or borderline personality disorder. That's defamatory. If those were my diagnoses, that's what I would be dealing with. This is what I'm dealing with: situational depression, social anxiety, ADHD. These are the treatment plans. This is the medication I'm on: Seroquel, Lamictal, and Strattera. These are the dosages. This is my therapist. She wishes not to be on camera. She said, I need a safe space emotionally. She has legally prohibited me from being able to publicly speak her name so that she doesn't get a wave of fans or any of that. She be for me. So that was how I was able to dead that. But I literally had no idea that Manu was Amanda, was the girl I met in passing at my son's 4th birthday party. I had no clue, because I just don't talk to him about those kinds of things.
Wow. Wow. So, do you feel, I think on the outside looking in, do you think he presented you in that light because he was desperate to get an opportunity in the spotlight on Love and Hip Hop Hollywood? And it was like that this was attached to you as being this manic, wild person that didn't have any self-control. Like,
I think that it was him trying to return the hurt, because I'm the one that left the relationship. My dad, you know, we had been arguing about something, and he came to bring diapers to the house, and my dad had just gotten home, and my mom got home shortly after we had commenced with the conversation. And my dad said, well, you know, let's just get to the bottom of it. Drew, do you want this relationship to work? And Drew said, I do. And I'm got a house nearby. I moved to the Valley, and it's time for her to come home and be the queen of her own kingdom. He looked at me and was like, and Moniece, do you want it to work? And I said, no, I don't. This is a clear look and indicator into what co-parenting is going to be like. I don't want it. I would prefer us be apart and get along than to be together and at each other's throats. Now, if we can go our separate ways, and what's meant to be will be. Because at this point, I've been thrust into therapy. That was mandatory for me to be able to live at home. So it was not optional for me. So what ended up happening was I just emotionally outgrew the relationship. And no matter what he says, and no matter what anyone has said, my own parents have admitted that I shocked everyone with the type of first-time mom that I was. I was very cognizant and aware of the fact from pregnancy, like, this is a life. And I will never forget, 6 months pregnant, he missed the ultrasound appointment, came to the house. I was getting out of the shower. My mom had let him in, and I was coming down the hallway to my bedroom, and she was standing downstairs in the foyer. He was standing right at the opening of the front door, and I was upstairs on the landing. And I just broke down in tears, and I begged him. I said, Dr. G said, I can do amniocentesis. We can establish paternity now. Let's go to court. We'll hyphenate his last name. Let's get something in writing now. I don't need paternity. I know that that's my baby. Mind you, in the beginning, he had said it wasn't his baby. So at 6 months pregnant, I was like, let's go to court. let's protect your parental rights as a man. I'm okay with that. And he didn't want to go. So I just said, fuck it. And after he was born, it was me, the way we ended up in court, it was me that said, I'm not coming back. And if you are afraid, I made a vow that I would never, as long as you're not physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, verbally abusive to this child, I will never interfere in your relationship here. So I would never use him as a pawn.
Yeah.
I'm now at this point living at home. My dad has said, you can come and go as you please. This is where your son lives. No one's stopping that. You are welcome, but you can no longer spend the night in my house because you're not getting up and helping her in the middle of the night. So you're not going to be in my daughter's bed, you know, under my
roof, okay,
helping. You don't get up. So in other words, you don't need to sleep here because you're not doing anything in the middle of the night anyway. But you can come and go all day.
Got it.
Right? And so that's what he would do. And so I then said, I'm not coming back to the relationship. If you feel like I'm not going to honor my promise to not snatch him and go, then you should legally protect yourself. I fully support that. I'm okay with that. It was me that said at 6 months pregnant, let's go, and you didn't want to go. Yeah. Now, I'm going to take you. I don't want child support, but if that's the route you want to go, I'll support that. My whole family supported that.
Yeah.
And he came over super early, and he was asleep with Cam in my bed. And actually that's a lie. No, that's not a lie. He was asleep with Cam, and there was a knock on the door, and it was like 6:45 in the morning. And so I was already headed downstairs to warm a bottle I had pumped. And I was holding Cam, and I answered the door, and that was the day I was served with the paperwork. And he just so happened to have just beat the sheriff there. I don't think he knew that that was the day that they were going to serve me. But that was the day they served me. And so I went upstairs after warming the bottle, and I was like, I just got your custody papers, but he never told me that he filed.
Wow.
So I was fine with it until I started reading his dissertation, if you will, of lies. And I was just like, wow, okay.
But that's what my question is. What is it that you're doing that is so unstable? What?
Well, I had tried to, I was arrested when Cam was 6 or 7 months because Drew's dad was never in his life. I think his dad came back around when he was 13. And from then to now, I think he's been in and out. Even still, I don't know. But I know that at that time, his dad was in and out. So his dad had said he was coming to the baby shower and hadn't come. His dad in town, and I guess Drew has another brother, or has a brother. And so the dad and the brother, if my memory serves me correctly, were here and wanted to see the baby.
Okay.
And we had come up with a split since I had at that time was now done breastfeeding. So I was letting him take Cameron. I think it was like Thursday or like Friday, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and he was returning him to me on Sunday.
Okay.
So he wanted, he wanted the baby early, which my thing was bring him back early and then we'll resume the normal schedule the following.
Right.
And there was a discrepancy on when he wanted to bring the baby back. And at this point he had filed. And so I said, well, then you can't take him today. Come back on Thursday and get him on the regular day. If your dad is here, he's here. If he's not, I don't know what to tell you. But we can just avoid this discrepancy of you bringing him back or not early by just sticking to what we've been doing. So come back on Thursday. Nobody said you could never have him. Nobody said, oh, your dad. No, we did. I never said that. That was it. So he said, well, you haven't responded yet to my custody suit. So technically you've lost by default. And if I want, I could take him and never bring him back. At that moment, I was like, yeah, okay. So I had actually asked to go to my room to calm down because that was something I had learned in therapy. my dad actually blocked me on the staircase and was like, we should talk about it now. And I was like, no, you guys should let me go de-escalate.
Right.
And they literally had cornered me. So I grabbed the car seat because I had everything by the door ready to go. And I went to attack his car. Before I could get to the car, child, I was in the street. Glasses done flew off. Shoes done flew off. So when I got up swinging, honey. And he had tackled me from the back. And then he called the police. So I was actually bloodied. And I think that was the first year that they'd implemented this new rule called the nature of the call. And the way the cop described it to us was, it's like tag. Whoever calls first, in most cases, is safe.
Wow.
But in situations like this, where there are visible injuries to one party and not the party called, we have to call in our supervisor because we can't really make out who the primary aggressor is.
Yeah.
But in a domestic violence situation, one party is going to go. Someone's going to jail.
Right.
Do you want to press charges? And I said, yeah, I do. And so, but because he had called first, I was detained and until the supervisor showed up. And so they were trying to decide if I was the primary aggressor for running to the car or if he was the primary aggressor for threatening to take my son, not bring him back, and then physically tackling me. Because I didn't get physical until I had been tackled. And even then I realized who it was. I didn't know if it was my mom, if it was him, because it happened from the back. So the supervisor showed up and was like, do you need medical attention for your injuries? I said, I need you to make a fucking decision.
Right.
And he said, take her. So health got me in trouble. So I spent the night in jail. I guess I was supposed to go before the judge that day, but the police had taken pictures of him, his car, me, the baby. The baby's untouched, wasn't outside when it happened. He was untouched. He had like a couple scratches on his neck from where I'd like reached out and I'd broken his necklace, but his car was untouched.
Okay.
It looked like I had 6 golf balls under my forearm. My knee was swollen. My feet were cut. Oh, man. Shoes. My glasses were broken. I had cement burn on my right shoulder. So the DA dismissed the case, and I was released. At that point, DCFS had been notified because my parents had called my therapist. She didn't feel like I was a danger to my son. You know, the environment was beautiful and clean, and I lived with 2 parents, and we had, you know, like we had a whole floor almost upstairs that my parents had converted for me. Well, not converted for me. They had converted it and then moved me and Cameron in. So he had everything he needed. You know, we had over 200 people at the baby shower, and there were doubles and triples of everything. So he had clothes. I mean, just everything. You know, my mom's mom is an RN and a psychiatric nurse. And so we had just great care. So they said that a recommendation that he stay with me and not be removed. And until we go to court, it's their suggestion that the agreement that we already had in place continue. And so from there, we went to court, blah, 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 blah. DCFS was going to close the case. My cell phone was dead. I was not home when they called my house. Okay. And, you know, now the case was no longer being closed. My son had been removed from my custody while he was with his dad. And I found out from the social worker, and she said, well, we were actually calling to close the case. But then we were told A, B, and C. And I'm like, wow. But my son has no scratches, not even self-inflicted. You know, you put the little mittens on. And stuff. No scratches. He's not underweight. He's not malnourished. He's happy, a happy baby. You see him interact with me. He knows exactly who I am. Right. And this makes no sense. And so that was how the custody battle ensued in children's court. Now, once you get to children's court, it's 10 times harder. But I never missed a court date. I was on the bus 3.5 hours one way, to and from. No one was showing up to support me. No one was, you know, friends were sometimes able to give me rides, but it was in Monterey Park. It was far. So I went from having my sons 6 days a week to 4 days a week, because then I was sharing with Drew, to now 6 hours a week, 2 hours a day, 3 days a week, supervised at the Department of Children and Family Services office.
So when then when you started Love and Hip Hop, that was the status.
No, we started Love and Hip Hop.
You had them full time?
The case had been closed. We had been granted joint legal, joint physical, no child support awarded to either side.
What?
The custody battle had been over. That didn't last long. That was like 6 months. That started when Cam was like 8 months, because I went to jail for the night when he was 7 months. And then we were going through family court for like a month and a half. And then 8 months, 8.5 months, that's when they took him. And then Cam was like a year and a half.
Bless you.
A year and a half, like maybe no, he couldn't have been more than like a year and 8 months. At that point, the case had been closed. We had custody, 50-50 legal and 50-50 physical. So equal time with me, equal time with him. And they call it 2-2-5-2-2. 2 days with Drew, 2 with me, 5 with Drew, 5 with me, split holidays, share him on his birthday. That was on paper years before Love and Hip Hop. Cam turned 4 right after our first season. So this is almost over 2 years later.
Wow.
And he's saying what he was saying.
Yeah. That just don't seem right. I just don't. That's just not fair.
It is what
not fair.
I'm a stronger person. That's how I ended up on the show. That was, we all saw the first season was rough, and then we saw the tables turn season 2, and then from then on, I kind of grew my own little legs. And
you were just a fan favorite. Did you ever expect that to be?
Never. Never in 3 years thought that it would end up being what it was. Oh, in totality, like in the grand scheme, I really didn't. I had no idea.
I mean, every episode, it was just.
They wouldn't leave me alone, honey.
No, they would not. But you really handled yourself graceful. You always had a catchphrase. You always had something slick to come back with.
I'm very witty.
Yeah, so you were definitely a fan favorite. So take us through, oh God, this is a difficult question. A lot of people want to know about Apryl and Fizz and that dynamic. Were you friends with Apryl, and do you feel, was it a betrayal?
I'm going to make this very brief. She and I were developing a friendship at one point. I caught wind in 2017 that they had been hanging out, Apryl and Drew, and I backed up. I just kind of faded to black. There was no hard feelings. Like, I felt no way about it. So I never mentioned it to her. I never mentioned it to him. I never said a word. So I don't feel that there was no betrayal to me. He is the father of my child. Besides those like 3 pumps he gave me when I was ready to go into labor, because my doctor said that sex could stimulate contractions.
It does.
Cervix had already dropped, so it was too painful. So I was like, get out. Outside of that, we haven't touched each other. The whole pregnancy. Well, I was raping him kind of like in the beginning, like, trimester, but then like, you know what I mean? So there had been no physical interaction between he and I since pregnancy. And so as much as he likes to lie and say I meddled in his personal business, I never did so. So I don't feel that she broke girl code. She owed me nothing. The betrayal to Omari,
right?
That's has nothing to do with me. That's not my thing. That's father of her children. That's her ex. That is his, bandmate and coworker. But they also, this narrative that O and Drew were not friends, that's a lie. Because when O signed to Maybach and dropped Post to Be, Chris and O went with a bunch of dads and their kids to Disneyland. Those pictures are still all very much on the internet. My son's father and my son were amongst those people who were invited to go that day. I threw Cameron's party, I want to say it was his 5th or 6th at Glow Zone, and Apryl and Omari came. You know, so there was, you know, season 1, Apryl had a like onesie birthday party. I rode to the party with Morgan Hardman. Drew was already there. Omari had invited him. So to say that you weren't friends is a lie. To say that he needed someone to come on the show to look like he was friends with, no, you guys were actually friends. You guys had reconnected. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But to say we're not friends or we weren't friends,
That's a lie.
His mind makes the behavior less egregious. I don't know. I don't care. We're past it. I don't feel that she owed me any loyalty. She just owed me basic respect. And at first things were going well. I still never accused either of them. I still never, even after we started filming, I still never, I didn't think that they were sleeping. I literally would tell people, like, they can't be that morally bankrupt. Like, I really don't think they're sleeping together.
Wow.
So I never accused them of being a couple.
You just thought they were friends?
I really did. Like, I didn't think either of them were that morally corrupt or like void that would be the nature of the relationship. Did I think that they had formed a friendship built on their common disdain for Omari? Yes. Drew being hurt that Omari had completely started ignoring him, and without Omari, there could have never been a reunion tour. Yep. Her being hurt over however and whatever took place that ended their relationship. Yep. And them knowing a side of him that the rest of us don't know, that they felt that they could bond over. Yeah, I do believe it. But I never thought that they were a thing, you know. So I never made that accusation to either of them, to anyone around us. And so she and I were actually working out like minor scheduling stuff. And my ex-girlfriend and Drew were working out like scheduling stuff. It made everything run smoother, you know? So I'd never asked them anything. And then Cameron volunteered that the information that they had gotten a house together. And that was, you know, when I had expressed that, I actually didn't even express that publicly or say I knew about that publicly until the scene at the skating rink, when she chose to disrespect me, because 2 weeks prior to that, we said we were going to go out for a girls' night. And we were planning it for Drew's week with Cam so that I didn't have Cam because I don't use childcare. So I was like, let's do it during the week that Cam is with him. And she was like, good, he can keep all the kids, we'll go out. And then we never finished like planning things. You know, she's filming, I'm filming, he's filming. We all got things going on. And so we never like solidified the plan. And then here we are in this scene and you ignored me. You know we have a job to do. I didn't ask you anything. And then when Paris is like, you're not going to talk to, I don't need to tell her anything. Then you follow me outside and say, I just came outside to check on you. Huh?
Right.
That's where I felt like, bitch, if you don't get out my face, and that's the infamous like psycho chuckle that I had to let out, because it was like,
stop playing in my face.
Stop playing in my face. So,
wow. Who is Apryl? Was from what I hear, was she like some type of nurse or something? She had a career in nursing, and now she's an actor. Like, how'd she get to?
No, I know nothing about.
How the hell did she get there?
For the sake of her kids, I hope she has a prosperous life. I don't like her, but she's not ugly. She's not bad built. She's beautiful. And clearly she can do multiple things. So I hope in any of those things she succeeds so that her kids can have the best life possible. I don't have to like her though.
Yeah.
I don't doom on her. I just don't like her.
Yeah. So, okay, we all know, Moniece, that you made the decision to leave Love and Hip Hop Hollywood. How was that? Take us through that day.
Well, I've been trying to leave since season 3. And then season 4. Every season since season 3, I was trying to get out of my contract. Finally, when I reached the 7th contractual cycle that I was obligated to complete, I was like, I'm not going to renew. And I was unsure if that was the right decision. It's scary for me financially because I did walk away from a hefty 6-figure salary, guaranteed 6-figure salary. But, you know, I also feel like it was the best decision for me. It's apparent in my weight gain. It's apparent in my glow that I'm
You look good in those pictures at Jason Lee's. You looked great.
Yeah, it's apparent in a lot of different areas of my life that was the healthiest decision for me. And I'm not going to be one of those cast members that's like, oh, fuck them, I'll never go back. It is fuck them. But I would go back if I went bankrupt, for sure. Like if I go broke and I'm like on the verge, like I got to go back with eating a piece of humble pie with my tail tucked between my legs. Like I will go back if that becomes my reality. But for now, I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Are you still with AD? Are you still in that relationship? No.
No. And it's so interesting that you asked me that. I said I wasn't going to give her any publicity, but I want to say last week I started getting screen recordings and screenshots of she and her new partner.
Oh.
And she has become a complete OnlyFans adult star.
Oh my gosh.
And it's really actually alarming to a lot of us that like now the videos are starting to circulate. And it's really alarming only because if you remember what she said she stood for, showing up as your highest self and, positively and truthfully representing the LGBTQIA community and peace and high vibrations and, no drama and family and this and that, and, this is what you became. Like I literally gave you a platform.
Yes, because you guys looked great on camera.
You had a platform. You now have a following.
Yep.
You could have parlayed that into anything you wanted. And so we're all kind of concerned because she looks strung out. And I just don't understand, her niece and nephew, like, love her dirty socks. And it's like, but she's like, this is on Twitter. This is on your IG story. Like, whoa.
Oh.
This is a worse look for you than I could have ever been. So what's really going on? And then I found out, when they were sending me, fans were sending like, have you seen this? Oh my God, what's wrong with her? She looks horrible. And I went to the new girl's page and she had like 3, because I went to go block the new girl. And when I got to like her 2nd or 3rd page, the new girl was following me. Block.
Oh no.
So I am far removed from that. We are not together. We have not been together in over 2 years. And until something like this happens, she never crosses my mind.
Yeah.
But I mean, I received a video like hours ago And it is just like, whoa, really?
Oh, wow.
What we're doing? Wow. Okay. So it's just like, I guess my concern is
Yeah.
what happened personally, spiritually, mentally, that you felt this was the only option.
Right.
And why would you want to be with someone who would even encourage you, or because you have more of a following than this person does, so you're definitely being used.
Right.
Or because they're tweeting things like, watch what happens when I try to watch Love and Hip Hop. So because you can't say my name, you know what I mean? And you're using that avenue. And I think maybe she thought I would freak out and go off publicly,
Right.
and Instagram, and it would drive up their subscriptions. No,
Right.
not going to happen.
Oh, well, honey, I'm glad that you're not involved in anything like that.
I'm gonna pray for her, but it's very alarming. It's actually sad.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's sad. So would you say, Moniece, are you bisexual or okay.
Bisexual. When I'm with a woman, I consider myself a lesbian because I actually don't like penetration. If I wanted to be penetrated, I would be with a man. So
Okay.
when I'm with a woman, I consider myself a lesbian. And when I'm with a man, I consider myself bisexual.
Yeah, I understand that. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I've always wondered, like when women are, in women on women relationships, I'm like, why would you want to use a strap on? What's the whole point of that? You might as well be with a man. So I've always told people old school lesbians, they don't believe in penetration. So the fact that you said that is true. I've heard that.
Yeah.
I've heard that. Yeah. So, okay. Get down with the get down.
Okay.
Get down with the get down.
Yes.
So would you say, I know I asked you this question on the last interview, Moniece, when you left Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, would you feel would you feel like you were blackballed because you left them?
No, I've had plenty of other show offers. The pandemic really made it hard. I don't feel that I was blackballed. I was released on paper. I'm free to go where I want, do what I want. They don't necessarily say the best things about me, but they don't say,
okay,
she's out. Yeah.
Okay.
From what I know, that's not been taking place.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So would you feel like they just have they may just feel some type of way, because you left them?
Love-hate relationship. I definitely appreciate what the platform did for me monetarily. I'll never respect what it didn't do for me professionally and brand wise, because they could have, they just chose not to. And for that, I'll never understand. And when I was ready to go, to hold on to me and make me miserable, I just didn't get that. So I can't respect that business practice either. But I did develop genuine relationships with some of the EPs, whose names I won't mention, but that I'm still in touch with, that still check on me, vice versa. And recently VH1 did call me to do this upcoming season of the family reunion.
Okay.
And I did agree, but I guess some of the Hollywood cast that they were going to have, they're not going to have. So it didn't make sense for me to be there. Okay. So that opportunity did present itself. They did call me. WeTV did come to me with a marriage boot camp opportunity, but at the time I wasn't dating anybody, so that wasn't gonna work.
What the point? Yeah, what's the point? Yeah,
a blow up. I'm gonna have to get me a blow up. So, I did take a meeting with Zeus.
Yeah,
but they stole one of my show ideas and gave it to Saya. I had a show concept for a lesbian dating show that I wanted to do, and Lemmy after and Lemmy actually stole that from me before I even sat down and met with him. My realtor put us in a group text, and I put my show concept.
What?
group text with all of the different challenges. I titled them. I did like everything. I put it in this group text. And then months later, I finally ended up sitting down with Lemmy. He had called me and asked me to do the conversation with Apryl. And I said, no fucking way, unless I get A, B, and C. So something happened. She backed out. And
that would have been epic. Ooh, I would have watched that one.
She backed out. And I think that she backed out because shortly after is when we all saw this stuff about the family reunion. So I think she couldn't do, I won't say she backed out. That's what he said, but I would venture to say that being under contract with Love and Hip Hop and them feeling some type of way about Zeus allegedly poaching all of prior talent, I feel that probably VH1 made it hard for her. And so she probably wasn't able to. And I took the meeting with him and said I really wanted to do that show first. And he said, well, we already have something just like that for Saya. I said, well, how? That's very interesting because you didn't have any shows in that space. But on this particular date and time, and now it's someone else's show. Yeah, no.
Zeus is dirty though. I've heard a lot of those practices.
Dirty. And for them, Black owned, Black created, and for them to be no different than these other Black production companies that slight the talent, to me is just whack. Yeah,
they tried to take my channel for a review, and I had some of their content, but they tried to say that I was using it copyright infringement or whatever, and I was about to lose my channel in 7 days. I had to get a lawyer and everything.
Well, as long as you cite the source, it should be fine.
Yeah, I did, and it was like false copyright strikes though. It was a big deal. I went through a big deal. And like the way they did it was like the stuff that I used was on their Instagram page. They took it down so it wouldn't look like I used it. And then once we, the video that they really wanted me to take down off of my YouTube had over almost 300 or some thousand views. They really wanted me to take that down. So they struck all these other things that I was doing. And the deal was, take that other video down and we'll play ball and put everything else back. So once we, but if I didn't get a lawyer, if I didn't have a lawyer, I'd have been fucked. Oh, I'd have been fucked. So yeah, we ended up working it out, but I felt really robbed. I was like, wow, why are they doing this to me? I'm just a little small fish. Let me have it.
No, honey.
Let me have it. And then just for them to put the shit on their YouTube page, they just put
they said, to hell with your child.
Right. I said, well, I'm never reviewing another Zeus show. I stopped doing it. Yeah, but well, Moniece, I don't know. I know that since you've left Love and Hip Hop, I see you going live. Yeah. You're having your adult conversations on live. I see you with Rich Dollaz not too long ago. The conversation. How'd you get on there with Rich Dollaz?
So Rich and I don't follow each other. I follow her, and I saw Peter Guns was going live with, and it's been so long that I didn't realize that was Rich's birthday that day. And then I saw people like commenting and I was like, oh, damn. So I saw that Peter Guns is now going live with, I forget the other gentleman's name, and at Richie Dollaz, and I joined to watch. That was what happened. And so that's how that happened. But he and I don't follow each other.
Okay.
And on that live, Peter was like, well, can we basically would you consider reconciling? Would you ever, and I was just like, bye, Peter.
So you guys really did not. So what I saw when I saw everybody in this live, you really weren't having a conversation with him. You were having a conversation with the other.
I was having a conversation with everyone in the live. It was name, Rich, Peter, and me.
Yeah, but you weren't really talking to him, you mean?
No, like I was
Okay.
responding to the questions that and their whatever it was that they had been discussing, and I had been commenting. But
Okay.
when you comment, it kind of throws it. It's a distraction. So I stopped commenting, and they were like, "Let's just add you."
Okay.
And from there, I was they were like, "We saw you comment and say this. We saw you comment and say." So I just, instead of commenting in the comments, I was saying it,
Yeah.
and why that was my logic.
Okay.
And it was 3 men, and so I was able to provide a woman's perspective.
Female perspective. Okay. But how did you, because this is going to go in that area too. How'd you get with Rich? How did the hell did that take place?
Child, he had reached out to me after something. He had reached out to me, and we just kept in touch. And then I was like, hey, I have a hosting in Boston, which is not far, I don't think, from New York. You should be my +1 because, my writers, 2 flights, 2 rooms, whatever. And that was our first time like meeting in person. And then from there, and we weren't filming season 2 yet. So it wasn't, in my mind at that time, I didn't know, I'd only filmed 1 season. So all this stuff that people do to plot and blah, 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 like that was not something I knew like people did. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I didn't think in any way he was using me to cross over, because why? He's a staple on Love and Hip Hop New York. He doesn't need me. You know what I mean? Like he's already popping over there. He's a day one, a OG, he's a prize face of New York. You know what I'm saying? So there was, in my mind, nothing he needed me for.
So you feel like he used you to get on there?
I felt initially that the relationship was genuine. As time went on, I realized that it might not have. I don't think his intention was genuine in the beginning. As time went on, and I started to look back, I'm like, yeah, no, I feel like you were plotting on me. I don't think he planned. I don't think he anticipated. I don't think he thought he would actually end up feeling the way he did. Yeah. And so I think part of that was Rich running, because that's just not something Creep Squad, that's just not something we had ever seen from him. So I just don't think that was something he was emotionally prepared. And Rich is very proud. So he doesn't like to be vulnerable. He doesn't like to, he's not the boyfriend or partner that like coddles you. He's the one that's like, suck that shit up. Fucking Momo, like, I'm like, right. So he doesn't like, and as much as I don't like to be vulnerable, he's one of the few people that I did, while being in the relationship with feel safe enough to just be, and me.
Yeah, he looked like he had your back. He was riding for you.
I don't think he anticipated actually feeling that way.
Yeah.
That was the first time I think the public had ever seen Rich do right.
Yeah, because even at the reunion and everything, he was like taking up for you and really going hard, and you could see that it was genuine. Like, he really cared for you.
Yeah.
Wow. So how did the departure? How did you guys depart? How did that happen?
We parted at the reunion because he sat on the stage and said, "Let's be clear, Moniece and I aren't even together at this moment." And I was like, "We're not."
Oh, wow.
The hell just happened? You just broke up with me on national television. I didn't know. So that was how we parted ways. And that's when I started to feel like, so was it a plot from the beginning?
Right.
Because you then went back to film New York, and I had nothing to do with that. Then they called me and said, do you want to go? We have different pods going on at Remy and Papoose' wedding. We want you to go propose to Rich. I said, you're out of your fucking minds.
Go propose to Rich? What type of shit?
Fucking mind.
I would have said the same thing. What?
Never gonna happen.
What would make them think that would even?
That's the type of person that I am, and they thought that I was still in a space to where I was really wanting to make that relationship work, and I wasn't. So I was like, absolutely not. Hence when he on that reunion and was like, I'm in love with my girl, Moniece Slaughter. I'm in love with Moniece Slaughter. I'm going back to Hollywood to get my girl. Negro, no, you're not.
Right.
No. That was when I was like, and he was mad. You got these people attacking me. Da, da, da. And I was like, I don't care. I'm in my feelings, and that's what I feel. So that led to me popping up in New York because I was like, here's your get back.
Wow. Moniece, how is it to live your life on screen? How is that? With reality TV with a mental health, situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be real. How is it to film reality TV with a mental health?
It's fine. You could say with a mental health disorder.
I was gonna say with a mental health issue. I didn't want it to sound like
no. That's the reality, and I'm such an advocate for that. I'm not offended by that at all. And I don't like to refer to them as issues because
that word didn't sound right, so I didn't know what to say.
It's totally. I'm not offended at all.
Okay.
I don't feel like you have to tiptoe around that phrase.
Okay.
It's draining because I am very much an empath. So I feel things like crazy. My intuition is very keen. And to know that I am being taken advantage of, to know that I'm being improperly portrayed, to know that I'm just being beat down for ratings, and for people to constantly lie every day. Like literally imagine having to go to work every day and not knowing what ambush you're walking into. You're not being told who you're filming with. You're not allowed to drive, so you don't know the location. Your phones are given. You have to give up your phone when you get there. You're fined if you're late. You're fined for fighting after they put you in this situation. It's just like, for this to be my job every single day, Monday,
you're fined
Saturday,
for fighting.
Fine for fighting. So Monday through Saturday, this is what I have to do for a minimum of 9-10 hours a day. Like it's draining. Like it literally, if you don't know who you are, like you'll lose it. The average person who doesn't have a mental health disorder or a mental illness or an emotional disorder or anything could be in a perfectly healthy love relationship. Everything could have been, your life could have been grand, right? And that, if you're not solid with self, will really throw you. Like one thing I always did was stay true to me. So it gets hard. It's like, they went from seeing me show up sometimes on camera, season 4, looking a little raggedy, to season 5. Then it was, she over it. Then season 6, it was, this bitch has the audacity to show up here with this struggle bun. One child. I was done. I did not care. I was like,
wow. So are they putting you, they say it's not scripted, but it has to be put in situations though.
It's just, I think that what makes people feel that way is it's not shot docuseries style. You're filming walk-ups and they look like whole movie scenes.
Yes.
They're driving down PCH and they're blowing in the wind and a green screen over it. And it's like, it's the most.
Yeah.
Bitches waking up looking like they just got, getting ready to go to the Oscars. It's like nobody wakes up like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's what gives it that feeling of fake. And also, in their defense, every year something happens to where they go and they say, okay, well, now laws have changed. And so because this happened, now we're going to have to implement this. So go back to the season where Erica Mena and Kimbella get into it, right? We see Chrissy completely lose it on Kimbella, but they don't have security. We see Kimbella and Erica get into it. Erica gets cut in the face with the actual glass champagne flute. There was no security, I don't think. I can't remember if there was or wasn't at that point. But so now we have security, right?
Right.
So now we know producers, and it was a bunch of women, female producers. You know, you saw Jim Jones snatch the man up, you know what I'm saying? And there was nobody to say, stop that, you know? And so now they're like, okay, well, now we should implement security on set. And now because Chrissy called Jim, we're going to take phones so that talent can't, I'm over there and whatever, right? That's why you hear Erica say, give me my phone. Give me my phone. I'm calling the police, right? Because now Chrissy done called Jimmy and Jimmy done showed up and snatched the man up. Now we have security because Chrissy done went in on Kimbella. Now we got plastic champagne flutes because Kimbella done went in on Erica, right? Now we have, you know, somebody done picked up a table and threw a table. So now we got to wait the tables. Now, you know, we got to do this, or now we got to do that. So every time something crazy happens, you know, Stevie and Jocelyn, they go for an entire cast of people. So now it's, you know, scanning bags at the door when you go to the venue for union. And, you know, now it's limiting alcoholic, the amount of alcoholic beverages talent can consume on set. Now it's, you know, we have to stop, you know, in the walkies, we have to stop saying, okay, Jason Lee just arrived on set, Moniece. So now it's talent J, or, you know, maybe they give him L because his last name is Lee. So talent L just arrived. Talent A just arrived. Talent M just arrived. Talent P, but that could have been Princess or Paris, right? So, you know, talent M could have been me or Masika. Talent L, Lee or Lyrica, or Lyrica's you know, senior. Like, so talent P could have been Paris, Princess, Pam, Mama Pam.
Right.
You know, now they every season that something wild happens, they have to implement, you know, and so now, you know, after what happened with me and Princess, and I'm so glad that we're past that, but now pregnant people can't film with people that there's an issue with while they're pregnant at all. Right. So every time something wild happens, they have to go back, and now there has to be more structure. And the more structure, the less real it will appear. That doesn't mean that what's happening is not real, that these beefs aren't real. It's just the way that it has to be controlled. The environment has to be controlled now. And with every faux pas, there's a new resolution, a new structure put in place, a new rule that is put in place for everyone's safety, for everyone's protection, even if that means we have to now shoot this way or that way.
Wow.
They would rather it be ridiculous than to not have a show.
Wow. So when you were leaving and you were walking down that aisle that day, they kept saying, Moniece, are you sure?
And they kept asking, they're like, are you sure?
There's none.
I mean, they asked me when I got there. They asked me while I was in the dressing room before they brought me out for my final segment. I'm walking down the hall and they're like, are you sure? I get to the stage and they're like, before we start filming, you're sure? Because we're gonna, you know, roll out this farewell package. And Nina opened up with one might be saying goodbye and whatever. So it was the might, because they weren't sure if I was sure. They thought maybe I would get to the end and change my mind, which we would have to reshift, you know, how I would announce I'm not leaving. Right. So I was like, no, I'm not sure, but yeah, I'm still leaving. Like, I'm not sure the decision, but I'm out. So yeah.
And when you made that decision, I know it was scary. I mean, having been on this show, it's been a part of your life every season you're coming, you know. And how has it been? How have you been?
I say it's early retirement, so I kind of just around the house. I look for I'm looking for new drapes for back here, honey. You know, I'm like, what project I'm gonna do today, child? So let me hang some infrared heaters outside. It's getting a little chilly. Let me do this today. I just be going around. Oh, I need some new white flowers, honey. Oh, look, this little deep fryer. It really excites me. I got me a deep fryer. I went and got me the biggest Instapot you could find.
Yes.
I went and got me a little popcorn maker. I just be, you know, Just
Well, you were doing a YouTube channel with
with Tiffany.
Yeah, and that was ironic, that friendship.
No, it wasn't. So the thing about Tiffany is this. Season 2, being with Rich, I learned how to play the game.
Okay.
So I was like, I am bisexual.
Right.
Fake me a lesbian relationship. So I hit my ex-girlfriend and was like, do you know a girl, a femme though? Because I actually don't date femmes. So I was like, can you find a pretty girl that you would trust for me to be able to kind of put up on game? Like, in other words, I'm going to have to tell her like this, and I need to know she's not about to run to the blogs and this and that. So she sent me some girls and I picked Tiffany. So she puts Tiffany and I in touch with each other. Tiffany at the time was running a daycare. She has a son. And now me having been through seasons 1 and 2, I said, I don't think this is a good idea. Like, I don't want people, I don't want them exploiting the daycare. I don't want people's parents, these kids' parents, looking at you funny, because the way that they do people is so grimy. It's something I can't explain.
Yeah.
You're in it, and I don't want you to have to be in it for that to be the case. So let's just keep in touch though. So we kept in touch with each other just periodically, like on and off. We had said we were going to get kids together. Then my ex-girlfriend introduces me to the crusty cunt, AD.
Yeah, and that happened to be her girl.
Happened to be her best friend. So she said, I have a friend. She lives in the IE and she has a son not too much older than Cam. We should get them together. Her name is Tiffany. And I said, hold on, 909 phone number? Is this her IG? She was like, yeah. I said, I know her. She was like, small world. So then we all started hanging out. I had never actually met Tiffany. I hadn't had time to actually link up with her yet. So that was how we all started hanging out. So I knew Tiffany before I knew AD.
So you and AD weren't really, you guys weren't really dating? You weren't really?
No, we really were dating.
But you were going to do other. Okay. Got it. Yep.
The same ex-girlfriend that introduced me to Tiffany is the one that introduced me to AD.
Okay.
I was already now at this point, when I was introduced to Tiffany, we hadn't started filming season 3 yet.
Okay.
Notices had just come out. We weren't even in pre-production yet. So now I know I'm being brought back and I've learned the ropes. So I said, I don't never want to go through no real relationship on TV ever again.
Okay.
So I hit the girl. And Tiffany was one of many that she sent. Boom. That's how I met Tiffany. I decided I'm not going to put you in this position as a mom and the owner of a daycare. No way. I can't do that to you. But let's keep in touch. Let's get the kids together, whatever. Now it's time to film. Now I had seen Tiffany posting on Instagram. She was in Miami for her birthday. Little did I know, AD was on that trip with her and a bunch of their other mutual friends. She had never met AD or tagged her. So now we're halfway through filming season 3.
Oh,
I go to a club, a lesbian club, at which my ex was a promoter.
Okay.
Asked me to do her a solid and come through that night. And so I did. It was there that she introduced me to AD. AD started dating for real, but I wanted to make sure the relationship was real. I could have integrated her into my storyline season 3. We weren't done filming yet. Nowhere near done. Okay. But I want to keep her off and make sure that this is for real. Insert AD season 4.
Okay. Got it.
Season 5.
Woo, you have been through it. This is Love and Hip Hop veteran Moniece Slaughter. I mean, y'all know she has been all over with this Love and Hip Hop. So what are you doing these days?
I am working on my second album. I have a bunch of amazing things going on with that I can't divulge yet, but I'm really excited for everybody to see what has been going on. And I'm currently being consulted by an amazing female music manager, and we haven't inked anything yet, but hoping that I'll be able to do that on my next trip to Atlanta. So I'm really just focused on the music.
Yep.
Back to what matters.
Absolutely. And I saw you at Jason Lee's birthday bash.
Yes, ma'am.
That you looked amazing. That dress. Woo! You had your girls.
My glam mother, Cindy Cohen, who's the owner of Moda Glam Boutique, who provided me with that dress some years back. And I have another one that's way blingier from her. But I was like, I'm going to tone it down.
You look great. You had your hair sitting up. Your girls was sitting up. I said, look at Moniece. Looking great.
Gain my little weight, honey. I said, let me show what I need.
Yes. Well, Moniece, I am very, very honored that you stopped by, that you even took the time to we just made it happen, and I really appreciate it.
Beginning, honey. Scam artist to double interview child. Woo! Woo! Nigga, we made it. Okay?
Shut up, that. Bless me, yeah, because I did turn into the devil. I turned into the devil in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Girl, I was like, how she want a resolution and won't answer the phone? I don't understand.
This bitch is crazy.
I know he was like, child, who does this? Where they but you know what? I'm a show a motherfucker that I ain't what they thought I was. I said, look, I'm gonna take my own business now. I'm gonna be professional. I'm gonna get an understanding. And shout out to you for being one of the few that pays for our time for interviews. I'm gonna have my accountant send her Zelle back. But before I do that, I want to know what happened. You know. So, girl,
okay.
I was like, no, I got this, because I know what I'm not gonna do is get off the flight and get deplaying social media shitstorm. I was like, I got to know what happened. And I was like, what is this?
But you know what? I think it was because I do pay, and I started thinking maybe this isn't Moniece. Like that's really
talking to me. But at the same time,
not even your.
Yeah. She was relaying everything to me.
Yeah.
She had relayed one thing. So this is what happened, y'all. My publicist was like, yeah, look over the questions, and then they're going to Zelle you payment the day before. So I don't even read, which was my bad, which is why I owned that on the phone. I said, I didn't even read the little clauses, child.
It would do this. Go ahead. It would do this. And the devil said, fuck you. Go ahead.
I had assumed that what my publicist had relayed was worded in the clause. So I didn't even read that, which was my mistake. So I went to bed that night without payment. So I was like, child, I'm going to bed. I said, so I'm not going to be up in the morning. So, and I think you were at work, and so the responses were delayed. So she was like, go on ahead, go to bed.
Yeah.
And if I hear anything, I'll let you know. So my phone, so here's the thing about me. I sleep with my phones on the charger in the bed. And when my son is not with me, I leave my ringers on vibrate. Right. Okay. So I guess I had been not rolling around. Both phones done come off the charger and died in my sleep. I had no idea. So when I actually didn't even know what time it was. So I came downstairs to make coffee, and it was like 12:30.
But see, that's what I told her. I said, you text me at 12:30. You know what time it was? My time, 3 a.m. I'm asleep. But in the paperwork, I had clearly said I was going to pay you the next day. But she didn't pay attention to it. It was just
it's okay. It happens. She's juggling multiple clients. Yeah. She's actually a really dope soul, and I only work with women, and women can be catty. The one thing I will say about Barbara, she probably was moving too fast.
Right.
Getting her kids ready for school. They're in Arizona, so she was probably juggling all of us. Her kids probably got the details of our stuff with somebody else's.
And that's not used to that. A paperwork would have every little detail.
And comes to interviews at all. So I think it was my bad for not reading it. I should have read it. I just assumed that what she said was in the clause. So y'all, so look, y'all, I done went to bed.
It was just, it's because your girl is too detailed. I can't help it. The rest of these bloggers.
Wrong with it. So look, y'all. So look, this what happened. So then I went to bed, right? I'm rolling around, right? Unbeknownst to me, because I'm asleep, right? The phones didn't come off the charger and they did, right? So I get up to come make me some coffee, right? And I'm looking at the phone, I'm like, does that say 12:32? No way. I'm about, oh Lord, let me get ready to go to the airport. I'm gonna call her when I get in the car. So I charge the phone. I get in the shower. I get out the shower. I'm looking at the phone. Bing, 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 bing. I'm like, what the whole hell? Then I go to the DMs to try to find Sweet Pea, y'all. I can't find her IG, right? Well, luckily, a diehard fan has sent me. So I was like, girl, she don't want no resolution. She won't get nobody her phone number. What's her Instagram? So y'all, I Instagram her, right? So she's like, I ain't got nothing to say. I'm like, okay, well, here's my cell phone. You could call me. Okay, I'll call you in a minute. I said, yeah, because I done changed my flight for you. Okay, I'm supposed to be going to surprise my grandma for her birthday, child, and I done changed my flight. You gonna get on this here phone with me. She called me. She's like, oh my God, I'm like, you know, tell me what happened. You tell me what happened from your perspective.
Cry to me, mama. Tell me.
I said, I got Barbara's. So y'all, I'm like, give me yours, y'all. So she gave me hers. So I'm like, well, let me get mine. So I gave her mine. So she's like, you know what? Thank you for being professional. And she's like, I didn't I thought this and I thought that. I said, it's no problem. I said, so let's schedule it. And I made it. I made it on time for the interview when we had scheduled it, you know what I'm saying, and everything. And I was cute and whatnot.
Oh, good.
And then our signal kept going in and out, in and out, in and out. So she was still going to use it, right? So I was like, you know what, girl? We homies now.
Yes,
so
she did.
Redo your interview for you because I don't want it to be, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because it's that first one. Woo!
Y'all, y'all, look at what I had to tell her. I said, y'all, I'm not in Houston no more. I'm back home. Life done happened. So I'm going to be looking maybe just a little beat down. And look what happened, y'all. My baby here is done come unswiveled, child. But I said it don't matter. I said, I'm going to be there today. I'm going to be there today. I don't care if this back to school orientation to whip my ass. It was hot. It was cold. It was raining. I'm sleepy. I'm going to be there, y'all. So I made it. A little crusty, but I made it. Okay.
She is not crusty. She is beautiful.
Crusty, but she here.
Looking like Pocahontas.
Thank you, child. And then, y'all know I'm candid, right? So let me tell you what happened in between time and in the meantime. I'm not gonna talk about her booty. I'm gonna talk about my booty. And
Don't tell him that.
My booty, y'all. I'm telling my booty. Let me tell you what happened. One of the dates we had rescheduled, I said, girl, I don't know what happened. I rushed home for you. Where was I? My son's game or something?
Yeah, I think it was,
I said, I'm running inside, y'all. I got to booty. But it was the kind, y'all, it was that kind that like.
She had to squirm and hold it from coming out.
I said, I'm gonna call you when I'm done. I'm sweating.
She got to that toilet.
Toilet. Woo! I got to the everyday toilet. And when it came out, y'all, I thought I was gonna be all good. I was like, oh, that's out. Let me just take a second.
And then
water. Let me cool down.
I just kept going.
Yeah, so let me turn on the air conditioner. Let me set up my ring light. Let me get my computer ready, child. I'm getting ready, y'all, and another wave come on. So I'm like, can't be. Now this time it was something serious, and I said, "Oh no." So I said, "Okay, let me just take it. I'm gonna get it together." So I said, "Well, let me not drink water because water moves my bowel. Let me just be still." Y'all, another wave came over.
Oh my God!
I had to text her. I said, "Girl, I'm not gonna make it." I don't know what happened, but I'm not feeling well. I'm not gonna make it. And so, feeling under the weather.
Yeah, but water. It's just been so much, but we made it.
On each other, we was checking on each other throughout. Like, girl,
this is so sweet. She is so sweet. It's like she was, focused. I'm gonna get this done for you because she didn't have to do that. She did. She just said, "Girl, edit your shit. Do it."
No, I felt bad. No, I really wanted it. For me, they always say there's no such thing as bad publicity. But at the same time, it's like you actually were really sweet. And I was just like, that sucks. Like, when you're working towards something, I don't think there's enough of us that go, okay, I get it. Like, let's just figure it out. Let's just do it. Because ultimately, you know, if it's choppy, if it's this, if things get moved around and then things get moved out of context, it's like, then people will be sitting around like, I should have just fucking redone it, you know? So like you paid me to do a job, even though I did it. And what happened was out of either of our control, the connectivity issues, you know, just be kind.
Yeah.
And it's not hurting me. It's not, am I tired? Do I feel like putting on a face? No. But is it taken away from anything else that I have to do? No. So if it's going to help build and put it, you know, again, I'm not as glamorous, but at least if it's
great
and whatever, and it just makes more sense and feels better, then that's that, you know. And I even think today I feel better because I was in Houston for my cousin's birthday memorial, and you know, so I think even today I feel space now,
and the vibe is better because you know, I think we were forcing it, and because you were going through something. I
was like, are you not gonna think? Right. We gonna goddamn do it, you hear me? I'm coming on with brows and lips and bronzer, don't you know? Okay?
I love you so much. Well, this has been another edition of the Sweet Pea Diaries. You guys go on over there and follow Moniece on Instagram. Where can they find you on Twitter and Instagram? Where are you at?
Twitter and Instagram are where I'm the most active, at Moniece_Slaughter on Twitter. And I can't change my IG name. I'm sorry, I lied. At Moniece_Slaughter for Instagram. I can't change my Twitter name because then I'll lose my verification badge.
Right. From
the label. So that's at Kalis World.
And keep following her because she got some new music. I know you dropped something. That you is it streaming?
That I Am featuring Akbar V, and right before that, I dropped a video to a song called "Ill" that was written actually by me and Brittany B from
Love. Yeah. So go run those numbers up. Go over there and follow Moniece. Thank you, Moniece, for coming on my show.
Having me.
You have a good night, boo.
You
Bye.
Too.